Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or the guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles here on MS&Me Radio, brought to you by the MS Global Support Network. I'm your host, Patty Long, and you can find me on Twitter at MSNit for Life, and I spell that MSENIT, the number 4, LIFE. And today is about anniversaries in a way, because I found out this week at #ChatMS that it's Randy's 6-year anniversary with his diagnosis, and we're at about the same time frame because mine came in June 6 years ago, the very end of June, and his came, just a few days ago. So we're basically have the same length of experience, but we've got different experiences. And Randy is this wonderful guy. You can find him at Must Stop MS, and he started the whole Must Stop MS campaign. And he also does #ChatMS that I talk about all the time, and started that, which is a great way for people with MS to talk to other people with MS, because we don't necessarily get a chance to talk with people face to face. And there's been research even done about face to face versus the anonymity of being online. Well, it's not all about anonymity, because a lot of times it's just about finding others and being able to connect with others who are going through similar experiences. And #ChatMS is great for that, because we'll cover a topic and everybody will talk about the same topic and share their experiences, share their knowledge on what maybe their triggers were, or share their knowledge on what they do for it. So with all of us out there participating in things like this, we educate ourselves. And then another great guy, a doctor, Dr. B, and I've talked to you guys about him before. He tries to educate us through his YouTube channel, his Twitter feed, through Facebook. He's really big on social media as well. Me, I'm still just on Twitter, and which kind of brings me back around to where I was going. But I looked up, because I knew that I had done an episode about my New Year's resolutions, which were more like goals, to see how I was doing, because I knew that, that fish room that I was going to clean up and fix up and make my workout room, I know that it is still in a wreck, because my goals changed and that room got worse, not better. So, I came home from the UK and I came home to a disaster. So, I kind of took care of the major part of the disaster, which was the fish dying and things, and have only one tank that now currently has live fish in it, and have really done nothing else but keep my fish that I have left alive. And I've kind of stepped away from it, because that was depressing to come home and find hundreds of fish that were non-existent anymore, or that were in pieces or whatever, because they're carnivores. Fish will eat other fish. So, in any case, that was a mess that I came home to, and I've kind of left that room. So I knew that that room was not done. So I wanted to see what else was on my list. And I had get into a good, healthy routine, because I had started this show not long after I'd had the surgery to remove the meningioma. And so I needed to get my good, healthy workout routine going. I needed to get a normal, everyday kind of routine going. And I wanted to be able to get out and about more. And I wanted those things scheduled, and I was trying to schedule them as an every other day sort of thing. And then I had, for my last one, sharing my exercise routine with you guys through YouTube, which has been a cognitive issue. But I'm learning. It takes me forever to learn the stupidest, simplest thing now, it seems. And when my grandchildren were down a few weeks ago, I found out how difficult it is for me to catch all the instructions and follow them, even though they're right there in front of me. I just don't see them all, I don't think. And I know I have, vision issues. I've always had vision issues. And, of course, MS made those vision issues much, much worse, because now I have, blindness in my right eye. And I don't see straight out of either. So, my vision is not good. So maybe it was visual, or maybe it was just trying to keep up in my memory and things. But I was trying to build Legos with my grandson and follow the instructions in the little book. There are little picture instructions. And I was trying to get the pieces turned in the exact same position so I could put them in the exact same ways. But yet, somehow or another, this was nearly impossible. It was so frustrating. So I will be playing with Legos to try and improve my cognitive skills. But I had these things on my list. And then, because I have MS, which, how many times do you hear somebody say, because I have MS, great things happened? I mean, really, how many times do you hear that? And here it is, Randy's 6-year anniversary, and he started blogging again. And he talks about that and how he has had these amazing opportunities because he has MS. He's had the opportunity to connect with wonderful people, and so have I. And he's had the opportunity to do good things for the community and bring people together. And I certainly hope that I'm doing that and doing my share there. That's certainly one of my goals overall, is to help people who are struggling learn about what's going on, or just make them laugh and be silly and cut up, But I definitely know that Randy is a lot further along in that process. I didn't get started until way later than him, because I didn't have brains enough to use the internet or social media or any of that stuff for the first 3 years. So I really wasn't on anything. And then, I had some problems on Facebook. So I just sort of jumped off of there. But Twitter I have loved. So I've been on Twitter. And then my YouTube thing, that's cognitive. That's what I was saying. And my routine that I got into, I did get into. I got into a great routine. And I had this amazing time because of MS. I was invited on the Oceans of Hope Challenge. Now, the Oceans of Hope is a wonderful charity, and they have things for people at all different EDSS levels. So it doesn't matter what your score is. They've got things for you. And I suggest you take advantage of them. And these things, they pay for the majority of the trip, and then you have to pay for part of it, and you can get grants for those from places like the MS Society. So it's a really wonderful opportunity, a great way to connect with others with MS face to face, which was something I had never really done before. So I was ecstatic over just that. But when I got back and I started having some issues, I didn't go as far backwards. And Dr. B just put a video up about this, and how if you get going good, and you're in this good routine, and you do have something happen that causes you to tumble backwards, you do not fall as far backwards. So if 10 was my very best ever with MS, and 1 was my very worst with MS, then I'm probably back down to a 6, maybe even a 5, because I have gone a lot backwards. I had that seizure-like event that we haven't yet proven is a seizure because the testing was too late. But I've been told by 2 doctors that it sounded exactly like a focal onset aware seizure. So for now we're calling them seizure-like, but that's kind of what we're expecting that it turns out to be. So anyways, I've had that, and I've had illnesses, and I've had depression and frustration and all of these things since I came back from that trip. And I'd say I was at a 10 when I first left, or the day before I left the UK, I was at a 10. I was the happiest I've ever been, and I was doing super, super well. We were walking miles and miles, and these things are things I'm going to do again. But I have to get back in my good, healthy routine. So I'm back to square one on that, I'm back to getting up and doing each and every one of my exercises. And I haven't accomplished my second goal, which was to clean that room up. So I need to really get back in there and do that, y'all. And then my third goal for figuring out YouTube that I'm kind of sort of halfway in the middle of. So I haven't done very well on my goals this year. Although, my goals were very much interrupted by my training. And I'm going to blame my training because it took priority. And that opportunity existed solely because I have MS. That's the only reason why that opportunity existed. So when you find that these opportunities come along, jump on them, jump on them, no matter what they are, and see where it takes you. Because I guarantee you, there's a purpose for you out there, even if you don't think there is. And so, for me, my purpose originally was to get better. And that was the only purpose I had. And it was given to me by my physical therapist, Allie. I was really upset one day because a bunch of people had told me the day before how lucky I was to be on disability and how they wish they could get free money and all of this stuff. And she said the most empowering thing to me. She said, You're not getting free money. She said, you work out for a living. You're getting paid to do these exercises each and every day and do them your best and learn everything you can about physical therapy and making yourself better and to get better. That is your job. And it was. And I took her words to heart, and I did get so much better. So when my 6-year anniversary rolled around, I was in the UK. I wasn't bedridden. I wasn't anywhere near bedridden. So, you can come back up the ladder. You don't have to just go down. You don't have to just get worse. You can also get better. And Dr. B did this video about how if you're exercising regularly and doing what you do regularly to make yourself better, that when something comes along and knocks you down a notch or two, it's only a notch or two. It's not back to 0. It's not back to 1. It's somewhere higher up in the ladder. And then you don't have as far to go to get back to where you were just prior to that. So getting there, again, this is, over and over and over that I have done this. So getting there again takes first getting out of your head about the fact that you've gone backwards. And then it takes getting a routine started, which I tell you is not at all easy. So I have it written out, my daily routine. And I've got, what I do when I first wake up. Well, what I do, I take my medicine. What do I do next? I go make coffee. And then while I'm standing there waiting on my coffee pot, then I can start my exercises. Right then and there, first thing in the morning, I can do my heel toes, where you go up on your toes and then back on your heels. And obviously you hold on to something while you're doing this. And these can be done laying down as well. Or sitting down with your legs straight out and hitting the floor but straight in front of you, your knees straight. So in any case, I do the heel toes and the butt kicks, and sometimes I get one more in before my coffee's done. And so then I pour my coffee and I get started drinking a cup of coffee, and I feed my dog and I feed my fish, and all of these things are on my daily routine. And I try to put them in order that I want to do them. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't ever go out of order. And that's okay to go out of order. But when I go in order, that helps me to set that pattern. So if I find that I'm consistently going out of order, and say I do side kicks after the butt kicks instead of butt squeezes, then I'll change the order of that on my sheet so that I can get into that routine and do them in the same order and keep them going and get to the end. And I try and give myself prizes for getting so far along or getting to the end. And this is kind of like a self-motivation technique, I guess, is that prize that you get at the end. And, we don't always get a prize, in a normal sense, not something that we can hold on to. Sometimes the prize that we get is the satisfaction of getting it done. Sometimes the prize that we get is the satisfaction of seeing that on your list from day to day, as you look back and thumb through and go through, that you're improving. Maybe you didn't notice it, but you are, and this is a huge prize. And I tell you what, those little bitty improvements can be missed sometimes, even by us. But the numbers don't lie. The way we feel doesn't lie. So putting a I feel like poo or I feel on top of the world kind of chart on your daily page, it is kind of a good thing. And maybe you put that on your daily chart 4 or 5 times to break your day down into pieces, because sometimes you feel great at one time a day and really crappy another time a day. So, that might help with that. I try to take advantage of all the stuff out there that I can find. And, this show even was an opportunity that I would not have had if it was not for having MS. I wouldn't have been asked to do this show. I don't even know how these people found me. I did not know Erica back then. Erica Lyons Richardson started the network. I didn't know Ted Michaels. He's the station manager. I had just started getting into hashtag chat MS every week, although I don't know, I might have been there for a long time and not realized it because I didn't have any memory back then. My memory is much improved, even though it's still way, way bad wrong, but at least I know that the day did exist most days. Some days I still don't know they exist, but most days I do. So that's an improvement, I used to be able to go to the same new restaurant over and over and over and over again before I remembered it. And I only know this because of my husband's sarcastic, mean, sort of meant to be mean sort of comments, I should say, about it, because he'd be like, well, you've been here before. You've been here a bunch of times, and we sat right there, and blah, 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 blah. And, finally, I would remember going to this restaurant. So I'm not there anymore, I remember things now. So I still am going to lose everything. I couldn't spend a day without losing everything. I mean, it just seems to be impossible. I spent all day yesterday walking around my house, inside, going in circles, looking for things that I had lost during the course of my day. And it was ridiculous. I did something like 4,500 steps in the house, just circling around looking for stuff. So I lose a ridiculous amount of things. But what can I say? That is better than where I was. So yes, I've improved. It's frustrating, but I've improved because now I can remember that I've lost all this stuff. So that is a frustration. But it's a good thing because, well, I remember I lost all this stuff and I need to be looking for it, right? Yeah. So, look for those positives. Look for those positives and look for those great opportunities that come to you because you have MS. So, I've gotten to meet these great people. I mean, Tony Hatfield, he's amazing. He's done some amazing stuff for people with MS in the UK, raising funds, raising awareness. And, Randy Patrick, who I've never met in person, just online, who does Must Stop MS. And Dr. B at Ohio Health MS, and Erica Lyons Richardson, and all these fantastic people. And I got invited to do this radio show. Out of the blue. Just from nowhere. This podcast that you're listening to right now, saying, yeah, she's got some brain issues. But my anniversary for this came and passed. And I didn't even realize it because my sense of time is that messed up still. So, back on October 13th of 2017, I made my very first recording. My very first one. So it would have aired sometime later that week or that weekend. And I'm thinking, wow, this is just amazing. I have been on this station now for over a year. And I didn't even realize that I'd been talking to y'all for that long. And I've made a lot of friends through this radio station, and I know I have, because they weren't on Twitter, and then they were, and they contacted me. So I know that that's that they had listened to the show. And that's always exciting for me when people reach out like that, and when I know that they listen, because it makes it so much more worthwhile. And finding a purpose is so important. You know, my purpose right now is to make myself as better as I can make myself, and to help y'all be at your best as well, in any way that I can. So I'm going to get that room cleaned up so that I can get those videos started, because I did find out one of my problems, and then I can share those exercises with you, and if you want to do them, you can. And if it helps just one person out there, if I just help one person, then I've done a good job. So that's the way I feel about it, and that's where I'm coming from. And I know that that's where Randy's coming from, and Erica's coming from, you know, and everybody else who I haven't mentioned, Tony, you know, everybody I've met, and my mind goes blank because I'm trying to remember everybody, and so I can't. Isn't that funny? Marie, let's see. You know, they'll come to me as soon as I hang up with you guys. But my time is about up. So let me say again, thank you to all my listeners for this wonderful, wonderful past year and a month almost. And for everything that the community as a whole has done for me. And I love you guys. So remember today and every day to smile big, really big. Smile often. Laugh a whole lot. And most importantly, love yourself. All of you, including that wacky MS part of you, because you're a good person in there, and MS can't take that away. So love yourself. Bye, guys.